So welcome everyone. Um, we're excited to get this conversation started. I'm Sherry Elliott with the Presbytery office. I've probably communicated with a number of you, but there are some faces and names that I don't recognize. So I'm glad you're joining us today. I'm excited to facilitate today's conversation with Sheila Chester. I found Sheila through one of my colleagues in another presbytery admin like myself, and she was aware of Sheila and Sheila's good work in Denver Presbytery. Sheila is a church strategist and an AI advocate dedicated to helping small and mid-sized congregations thrive. Through her work in worship leadership, communications, and technology, Sheila has helped churches build strong, sustainable online communities. So Sheila, welcome and take it away.
Thank you so much. I am so glad that you called me. It's so funny. I get these random calls every once in a while from churches across the country, and I didn't think I was that big of a deal. But currently, I am sitting in the house that I grew up in Edgemont, South Dakota. This is a 700 population 700, and we live outside of the town. It's where I grew up. I grew up in an ELCA Lutheran church. And I'm still pretty active in that, even though I'm not home. But you know how small churches are. When your kids leave, you keep them on the member list just to keep that church alive. So that's where we sit. And currently I work for a PCUSA church in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, so that we have about 200 members. I've contracted for several other smaller churches in the Denver metro area. I've attended mega churches. I've attended churches of all sizes and denominations, trying to find my faith path in life. And I've really found my place here at the PCUSA. And shockingly, I am the tech lead at my church too, which, you know, how we accidentally find our roles in churches, especially small churches. So I am an expert, and I am not an expert. So take what you want and leave the rest. So today I'm going to talk about engaging online congregants. So much of this I learned during the pandemic, as we were all panicking, trying to figure out how to reach everybody. And we are 5 years from that, and it has not left us. People are still sitting at home, aren't they? And families have forgotten how to enter the church buildings. And so rather than shame them into walking in the doors, we have to come where they are at, and that is on the screens. And in social media and on YouTube and on their phone. So let's get started. Churches are not corporations in competition. We are a connectional church. We are connected. We want to share our resources with one another. This conversation is about small, low tech and heartfelt, easy approaches to online engagement. I'm not going to teach you guys anything that is too far over your head. I don't want to. If you want to ask deeper questions, let's do that. Whether you serve 10 or 1,000, online ministry is about presence, creativity, and partnership. Presence means being present. That means online presence. So your online worshipers are not an audience. They are your congregants. So how do we approach them differently if they're your congregants? So we've had a couple of questions, and I want to try to answer them as I go through this. But what we're looking for is for the services to do a recorded service. I have one of my churches do a recorded service on a cell phone and just Facebook Live it. It could be that simple. We don't have the best sound. We don't have the best lighting, but we are inviting our past congregants, our future congregants, into who we authentically are, even if that's terrible technology. But we're doing it, right? We're offering it. So what we do at Grace, and we have a nice fancy setup. We bought last year, we bought the live stream equipment, so no longer we were on the cell phone. But we'll have the pastor look into the camera. The camera's facing the pastor, facing the stage, and he'll ask the whole congregation in the morning, let's turn around and welcome our congregation. And he'll look at the congregation and say, welcome to service. That's about the only time that he recognizes them, though we are working on getting a few more opportunities. I know as the worship leader of the church, I will spend time looking into the cameras. I know my mom notices, so that's that's important. But that's how we kind of engage in the service. During the giving section of the service, my pastor also will say, those of you online, if you are able to give, please do so. And we offer online giving through our website. Go to our website, go to the online giving section. All right. So, like I said, greet them specifically. To those worshiping from home, we're grateful you're here. We're so glad you're here. Now, last week I talked to another woman who does a really great job at online connection, and she says she hosts, or she has an online deacon. So that person could be somebody in church or at home who is talking to people online. They're like, if somebody comments on their Facebook Live post, or maybe it's YouTube Live, or however you decide to do it, that person is commenting back, thank you for attending, we're so glad you're here. They're relating to that person. Especially, that would be great during Pass the Peace as well. We can pass the peace online. Peace be with you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I haven't seen you in so long. When can we get together? That sort of thing. Have one specific person do that for you, so you're not doing 80,000 jobs, because you're already doing that many jobs. Because there's got to be one person in your church that can manage online communication. Now, when somebody is communicating online, here's the thing. I have a really hard time getting people to respond. But once they start responding, I know that they've been there for 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, looking and not responding and too afraid to say something. What I want to do when they are finally responding, I want to reach out after church, have the pastor say, so-and-so commented, could you call them and just say thank you? We saw your note. We're just wondering how you're doing. Personal communication. Online doesn't have to be this cloud in the sky of, we're looking at them, make it personal. How can you make this intentional and personal? All right. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty details, where do you put the camera? You want it to face the pastor. I think we had a question of, do you want to have the camera face the congregation? And the answer is no. I just don't see a benefit in that. You want them to get the message, and really you want to encourage them to come to the service. They may or may not, but what I have found is people that are online, especially if they're new families, new people, they will stalk you online for a very long time, up to a year before they even walk into your doors. So you just want to be your authentic self, especially that pastor in the front, whoever's worship leading. Have people, if there's a way to bring your congregation forward. Do you have people read scripture? Do you have them read different passages or do different things? How do you make your congregation part of the worship service? That's rather than taking a video of the congregation sitting there. And God forbid any of us look too bored while the pastor's talking. All right, I talked about when to look at the camera during the welcome, during prayer. There might be a creative way to bring communion into the mix. I remember during the pandemic, we actually would tell people, bring your communion, bring your bread and grape juice or wine or whatever to the table and join us with communion to this Sunday. We do it once a month, the first Sunday of the month. You may do something different, but that's maybe a way of advertising that. Now, our pastor will ask questions during his sermon. That would be a good time to look into the camera. What's something good that you saw this week? What's something, assign a real person to communicate with those online folks. All right, so I talked to my pastor this morning. He is a master of giving, of asking for money and receiving money. He goes around the country talking to other churches about how to have people give more. And what he said to me was, churches and pastors often default to generic apologetic asks for volunteers or money. Instead, reframe the ask as a call to discipleship. Part of our baptismal vocation is to offer time, treasure, talent, touch, and attention. So how can we ask our online members, our online congregants, our online strangers, whoever they may be. You may not be able to be in service today. You may not be able to give anything financially, but what we can have, we do have ask for these things from our online folks. Who is one person you can share this video with this week? Name them now and reach out to them. Send them the link. Be specific and be personal and ask them, folks online, can you please share this link, this service with a friend of yours? Can you please, if you're able, could you sign up to be an online deacon to help us communicate? You're here every Sunday. We'd love to see you help out. You are not strangers in the dark. You're not the anonymous people that we can't see. We want to touch you. We want to help you, and we want to engage with you. And that's what we're really looking for. All right. Another thing my pastor does for giving, he needs a specific, relevant, and relational. So for example, online folks need a reason that makes sense to them. Help us mail 20 prayer packets to homebound members. Help us send 20 messages to our email list. We need to we're asking you for to submit prayer requests so we can reach out to you and pray for you. Let us know your celebration so that we can pray for you and be excited with you and experience that joy with you. All right. And here's a part where I'm going to talk about the woman last week that I spoke with. She actually accidentally created a worship community for video games. And she was on Discord, and she was just a leader of a group, and she kind of became the pastor of this group. This is something we can do outside of that 1 hour on Sunday. We could create Facebook groups of widowed men or women, and we could create Facebook groups for families. We could create Facebook groups for people who are experiencing some sort of unique loss, and we could create groups around that, online groups around that. There's several of that. When you shout into the void of the internet, it could go 1,000 different directions. But if you're specific and create these specific, unique groups, that's where you're going to really get traction. Now, don't go out to do, if you're not on Facebook, find another group that you're already a part of. If you're I'm not asking you to be on Twitter. Nobody has to be on TikTok. Choose the online platform that you're already on and utilize that. And also utilize people in your congregation that are on these platforms. Say, you seem like you're really good at this. You seem like you know what you're talking about. Would you be willing to help us? Would you be willing to be the online deacon? Would you be willing to be the volunteer for our social media? That sort of thing. Utilize your members as much as you can. I'm not going to go into technicalities of what type of equipment you need, because like I said, I have a church that's currently using a cell phone, an iPad. It's not about the quality of the product that you're putting out there at this very moment. If you have nothing, then the next step to nothing is a cell phone with a video camera on it. You don't have to be perfect. It's not about perfection. In fact, don't be perfect. Be authentic. Be the human beings that you're meant to be, because that's how we connect. We connect by being human and making mistakes and being imperfect. I live by that. Okay. Example, I have, my husband and I went through infertility, and we were trying to adopt in 2011. And we had a failed adoption, and it was devastating. And there was nobody there to help me pick up the pieces. I didn't have a church at the time, and I was really mad. And so I created an online Facebook group for adopted families who are trying to adopt in Colorado. I have 1,000 families in Colorado alone in my Facebook group today. And I have a huge influence over those families, over which speakers they go to or whose books they purchase, that sort of thing. That's the example that I'm talking about. What are you passionate about, and what is super unique? And people will find you. They will come to you. That could be with children's education, outdoor faith, grief support, or gaming, video games. Choose a platform that works for you. There's no perfect space. There's not one spot. I prefer YouTube. It seems to work pretty well. But again, what are you already good at? All right, that is all I have. I think I vomited as much information at you as possible. I do have, I definitely want to take on some questions, but I want you to know I have resources that I've uploaded onto my website, SheilaKChester.com. And it's just under church tools and resources. And it's all free. They're PDFs that you can download safely.
Yeah, so after this meeting, I will send out an email wrap up to everybody who registered. Actually, there's a lot of people who are unable to be here today, but they do have interest in this conversation as well. And all of these types of resources will be listed in it. Thank you. AI Companion. Somebody asked about that. So that's, and Sheila knows a lot about utilizing AI as well. And she's kind of got me encouraged to utilize it a bit more in my job. But yeah, so watch for that here early next week at the latest, if not before. But yeah, this conversation is collaborative. So let's just open up. Actually, I want to circle back first to Jim Cole. I see you here from Albany. Did you get your questions answered? Jim submitted a couple of questions in advance, and I just want to make sure that Sheila answered those for you.
I remember one of the two questions I submitted. Sheila, you did respond a little bit to the camera looking back at the congregation. In our case, we're fortunate enough to have a couple cameras. And so we always have one or two looking at the podium. But we've heard comments from people that are online that they'd like to know who else is there because they weren't able to make it, or they want to know if they got back from the hospital or whatever. And so they've asked, hey, could we see a view? And so the idea isn't necessarily all the time, but like during passing of the peace, or maybe communion and times like that, where they could kind of see if people are there. Right now, during passing of the peace, we take a wide angle view from the back. So all you see really are the backs of people's heads, and sometimes when they turn around. So that's kind of where that question was coming from. Do you know of people doing things like that?
Well, that automatically makes me think of privacy stuff.
Right.
Is there kids in the audience? We don't want to send out pictures of kids. I would keep it to the backs of the heads.
Okay.
I understand what people are trying to get at, and as a mom of 3 kids, and I know a lot of really sensitive families in our church, and understanding adoption too, like people are really particular about having their faces on camera publicly. And I know you're not listing names or anything, but just, it could be a decision that your church makes, but my recommendation would be not to show faces unless they step up front.
Okay. Is it generally a concern to show kids' faces, like during the children's time and stuff like that?
Not as much. We have on our doors that says, we are recording. This is being recorded. This will be published online. If you have a problem with that, let us know. We'll make sure you're not in the view. So that's an option you can do. The kids that come up front are mine and my friends. So we also don't have a whole bunch of kids in our church. But it's always something that's on my mind, and because I know people are really sensitive about it. So your congregation best. I think that's a personal decision for you to make.
Okay, thank you. And I'm trying to remember what my other question was. I think
it was specific techniques for interacting with remote participants during the worship so that they feel that they're part of the proceedings.
Right. And so that actually the discussion that Sherry had about an online deacon, I think that was great. And that actually kind of answered that perspective. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, my church doesn't have the online deacon. And after she told me that, we will be implementing that immediately. Yeah. I'm like, wait, I don't have to do it. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Yep. So that I'm good. Thank you very much.
Great. And then Mike Schiffer from Tualatin. Mike, are you here?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. I see you. Okay. Did you get your question? His question was, we would like to hear if other churches interact with or track online viewers. And I see questions regarding that in the chat as well when streaming worship services.
Yeah, I don't think I did answer that question. It is really hard to track who, if they're not commenting. I can see how many people have opened our videos on Facebook, and we share it on Facebook and on YouTube. Sometimes we look at it, sometimes we don't. I don't know how how it would change what I'm doing necessarily. But you can't tell who's online unless they've commented.
Yeah, I see someone just posted they use Zoom, which of course would do that for you.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking about talking to my church about is doing a pop-up on our website where it's streamed before the service starts to ask people to share who they are. But
I think that's a great idea.
we haven't decided if we want to implement that yet.
You might as well implement it. I have not had success in getting a ton of responses, but there's no hurt in implementing it, checking it out for a month and seeing how it works. And if it's too time consuming or nobody's responding, then you kind of know where to go from there.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
So how to contact with online viewers? It would be interesting so people who are doing online worship, it sounds like you're maybe live streaming it through YouTube or Facebook, or would it be interesting to know what platforms people are using? We always just do everything on Zoom, so we have your details, as you know, and that's
Interesting,
very
yeah.
convenient when you have to register in order to attend. But oh, Vimeo, I see
Yeah,
here.
we've used Vimeo as well.
So Zoom, yeah.
I mean, use what
use,
works best
we have
for
a
you.
YouTube channel,
Yep.
and we also have, my office manager has put in an attendance button to try and get folks to click the button, but that's a big commitment for some of our online.
It really is. It really is. I wish I had some cut and dry answers for you guys. There's just people are people, you know. You can't make them act like robots. But you engage when they're there. When they're available, when they're showing their name, you engage. Let me go through some of these questions. Oh, I love that. You give a jar of homemade jam to any first-time viewers who give us their regular. Yeah, that's a great idea. How do you get them to give them your mailing address? We also struggle getting people's information in person, regardless of online. But just showing any sort of engagement with them, whatever information they'll give you, utilize that. We have a mailing list. We get a lot of curious people join our mailing list through MailChimp. There's Constant Contact. There's a bunch of different ones you guys can use. That's a great way. We even link our services from last Sunday onto that email, so people can watch it later. We just link the sermon, so they don't have to watch the whole thing. But if we also say our YouTube channel is this, if you would like to go watch the whole thing, that's an option. Let's see.
And I would encourage us all to have chat open. And if we have any answers to the questions that we see in there as well, any experience, please chime in.
Is there a way to get more detail on viewers? Yeah, there's not really. Yeah.
I have a question in there.
Yes.
Most of our congregants either can't use a computer because they don't understand how to use it, and they can't use their cell phone very well without someone helping them. it seems like one of us from the congregation would have to actually go to their home or the nursing home or wherever they're living to be there with them during the service. But are there any other suggestions?
Yeah,
Maybe,
I've
maybe
noticed.
you could create a group of them together at one place and use
Yeah,
one.
we're actually in the process of trying that. There's a senior living center near our church, and we've been busing them to our church. That's been helping. I really struggle with helping the elderly and seniors with technology because, yeah, it is a home computer. If they had a phone, I'll sit there and save it on their main page. You can have like a tech day at your church and have a like. I think that's probably the best. If they're already
Right.
coming to your church, have a tech day right after service and see if you can save that link to the front page of their phone. And I'm going to tell you what, they're going to delete it accidentally, and you're going to have to
Right.
do that every week.
Or many
Or
of them don't remember to go there or why that's
right.
there.
And
Yeah.
a lot of this is they're not our primary audience.
That's
The
right.
folks who cannot use technology, we'd love to help them. But it's the people that are using technology intentionally that's our target audience for this type of thing. Otherwise you will be spending a lot of time in tech support, helping these folks that really want to be there in person, you
Right.
know?
Right. Well, and the other thing was, I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but if you're asking someone online if they want to be an online deacon, we would have to make sure they were already a member, or they would have
Yep.
to go through a membership and then become ordained to be an online deacon, or they could be an assistant to
Yeah.
a deacon.
No, I think that's great though. Then, well,
Yeah.
you do great. Let's get your membership paperwork going.
Right.
Let's get you, yeah, that would be great. I think that's actually, I'm fine with that. Totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dangle that in front of them and
That's
say,
right.
you know,
That's right.
we need your input. We need to have you with us.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I would be willing to go into an extended care living or a nursing home or something on any given Sunday and bring them together so they could watch the service
Yeah.
on my computer or a computer that's there.
Or even partnering with some of these senior living centers. We have a partnership with them and we do a separate in-person service there, but you could also do a separate online service. Let's all watch together at 10:30.
Right.
And,
And I'm a member of, I'm a ruling elder at the moment at John Knox Presbyterian in Kaiser. And we are very good about getting rides or giving rides
Mhm.
to those that need them to make sure they get to church. So, and we have very a very active church. We're all large frogs. There's no small frogs in our pond.
I
And we
love
all
that.
work together as brothers and sisters in Christ, and it's a wonderful feeling. And I know a lot of your churches are the same, if not all of them.
Mhm. I think that's a
So,
great idea, a carpool opportunity. And that's something you can state during your service. Hey, if you want to be here live, let us know and we'll make sure you get a ride, or, we'll help you get a ride. That might be a good way to reach out to your audience.
yeah, if I had the money, I'd buy a bus because I want to drive a bus, but I don't
It
have
is
the
pretty
money.
fun.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Any tips for increasing YouTube views promoting our live stream is what I think that says. We're testing a system, a thing right now where we're posting something on YouTube every day. And what I've learned from Facebook and YouTube and all social media is the more you post, the more viewers you get. And the annoying part is it doesn't matter what you post. As you can see, there's a lot of junk out there. So I have a system and it's time consuming, and you don't all have the staff to do this or the volunteers to do this. So just take it for what it is. We are doing a daily faith challenge. One person on our team posts something on YouTube every day. Then I go to Facebook, copy that YouTube link and say, hey, watch what we've got going on YouTube. And that's how we've significantly increased our views. It's time consuming. And that, is it worth it? I think so. I think we're going to reach a lot more online folks from across the country. Are we trying to be a mega church? No. Are we just trying to be the hands of God, even if it's through the cloud? Yeah, that's the goal. Did that answer that question? Let's see, somebody had mentioned, see, Mike Schiffer, you use Vimeo with connections to our Facebook and YouTube page. We use Restream.io, and it streams the video and then automatically sends to Facebook and YouTube. That's real handy.
Vimeo does that too.
Yeah, there's a couple of sites that'll do that. Anything that is less time consuming. Okay, yep, we answered that one. Yep, Google Analytics will tell you the general location. It's hard, I mean, that's great. But if you can't reach them personally, it's hard to, you're just gonna have to keep talking to the camera. I love this idea of using Zoom. I don't know, can you tell me more about that, Sherry? What is it like using Zoom for live streaming? You just set up a phone or what?
I can tell you about that if you want.
Tell me about it, Scott.
So at my previous congregation, it was a smaller congregation. And when we were doing our online worship and then moved to the hybrid as we were coming out of COVID, we just kept Zoom as part of it. During COVID, I did Zoom from my home and set up the background behind me like a chapel and then just did it that way. But then when we moved to hybrid, we kept the Zoom and we kept the inside of the church, and we just had our setup such that we had a camera looking at the sanctuary. And then we didn't do Facebook, we didn't do Vimeo, we didn't do YouTube. We just did the Zoom live stream, which is what used to be part of the older, I'd have to go find it now in the new setup of Zoom, but in older Zoom, that's what we did. And so we had all the little boxes with all the names, and we just did worship that way, and people could then unmute and mute for prayer requests, for any of those other things. For a larger church, like where I'm at currently, it might be a lot harder to do that, but for smaller churches, it's really, really easy.
You didn't have a problem having people unmute accidentally and talk over everybody?
We did, and I just, it was small enough that I could just pause and say, hey, please mute or whatever, and wait until the right time. And of course, we gave them their little instructions at the beginning if we had anybody new, but after a while, it was the same people that were always coming and they knew what to do. Yeah. I
like the idea of Zoom for small group specific worshiping type options, like small devotional groups. And, you know, some people are like, I'm never using Zoom again. Yeah, it's here to stay. So you know, find what works. There's going to be people that are only online people that may never walk into your doors. And if you want them to be giving, then ask, like directly ask them. We want you to give. Help us improve our online presence. We need to hire an online assistant, a helpful person, and your giving will help us improve this online experience. That's a great way to ask the online givers to support that program. Let's see, Vimeo, yes, Vimeo does have the capacity to interact. Oh, like Facebook Live. I don't think it does. Does it? Who knows about Vimeo?
Well, not if it's embedded, like she said.
Okay, yeah, but you can do a Vimeo Live and potentially comment on that. I just have not had the best luck of people commenting, especially on public forums. It's all about the follow-up. If you see their names, follow them up. If they like it, go into the likes and see who liked it, and then you can follow up that way as well. One thing I haven't talked about that I'm very passionate about, which Sherry mentioned earlier, is AI. And I know a lot of you are terrified of AI. I created a really nice resource guide on my website for you to download for free. It's PDF on how to start using it for free. I use it for social media. I will download the transcript of a sermon and say, hey, ChatGPT, give me a warm summary inviting members to listen to the sermon from last week with a couple of snippets of what the pastor said. And AI will do that. I look at AI as my personal assistant, my admin assistant. I actually pay for it. It's $20 a month for my admin, which is really cheap. I decided that it's a her. That's what I'm going with. And I bounce ideas. I write a lot throughout the week. I write for several different blogs, and I'll say, I'm having writer's block. I'll say, give me some questions to answer. This week is we're working on the Psalms. Tell me what direction to go here. Where our focus is in love and that sort of thing. And so it'll ask me questions. It'll say, tell a personal story about this specific thing. And I'll be like, oh, I do have a personal story about that. It could help with sermon writing. If you're having a block, it's not replacing your brain. It is not replacing your creative style. It is enhancing it and helping you come up with new ideas. I use it to create liturgy. My pastors will give me what their sermon, like what they're preaching on, the scripture and a summary and the title. And I'll say, based on this, this is the summary of the scripture and the summary of what they're going to be preaching on. Can you give me some liturgy? Like, let's do a confession and assurance. I want responsive text. I want a silent meditation in the middle. I want no more than 8 responses or 6 responses or something like that. Give me a call to worship that is responsive or non-responsive, the pastor and leader. And it just pumps out information for me. And then I make edits based on how I feel like it should go. Then I send it to the pastors. They make their edits. It's just, if that doesn't drive you, that creative juices, you can use it for that. If you love using the creative juices, use it to make spreadsheets, use it to make documents, use it to make, track your, the usage, your volunteer usage. I use it for going through my emails. I'll get a bunch of emails. I'm in all the committees, right? And I'll get everybody's emailing, responding back. And I've got ChatGPT in my Gmail account. And I'll say, review this email thread and tell me what the action items are. What are the main questions people are asking, and what are the action items they're wanting me to take? And then I'm not missing anybody's information. Nobody's feeling left out. Everybody's feeling heard. And I look like I have it together, which I definitely do not. So yeah, that's my pitch for AI. And if you're willing to play around with it, like I said, I've posted some resources on my website. All right, is there any questions I haven't answered? I'm going through here, trying to get through them. Sherry, could you help me out?
Yeah, so I know that hi Tam, thanks for joining us today. Tam is from Medford. I saw a couple of questions posted in the chat. Would you like to just verbalize your question for Sheila or the others?
Yeah, my question is, how do I connect with the online viewer? It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
What techniques can I use to connect?
Are you coming at it as the pastor?
No, I'm coming at it as a producer of the video.
The producer. So you are going to, if you're producing the video, is it live?
No, it's recorded and put up on YouTube.
Okay. So, see, when you produce the video, post it on YouTube, you can then post it in different locations, like on Facebook. If you would like, you could write what I like to do. What helps when I post it to YouTube, I will I'll have AI write up a really nice summary of what it's about. And what I'll ask the ChatGPT to do is give me SEO words. SEO words are search engine optimized. So if somebody's searching for something on YouTube, and this specific sermon had talked about that, AI would come up with different terms. So I'm just trying to think of, you can't necessarily as a producer interact with those people. Oh my gosh, you guys, my parents have a landline phone. What is happening? Okay, that's weird. Yeah, otherwise, other than getting really specific in what you're detailing, what you're posting, rather than posting without a title or without a description. The more description you've got, the better. Even if you put the transcript in the description, which again, you can get through using, YouTube actually has transcript options.
Yeah, but I want to reach out to those people and have them connect. Okay,
So,
how do I get them rolled in?
well, how do you know who's connecting? Because there's not a lot of people.
That's the big question. That's why
Right.
I'm
So
here.
if people are commenting on your YouTube underneath the video, then that's an easy answer. I don't get a lot of commenters. If you see people liking it, you can try to investigate who that person is. Honestly, it's really hard to find out. It's really hard to figure out who is liking, unless they show their name and unless they are commenting under their actual name as well. A lot of people have fake handles, where, you know, Sheila123. Good luck figuring out who that is. So I think that's going to be a harder one for you personally to do, other than just being as descriptive as possible in that YouTube description to get more people to watch it.
Yeah, it's not the people watching, it's connecting with the people to make them a part of the congregation.
I see.
Yeah.
That's the
Go to
pastor's
the
job
fellowship.
during the recording.
Yeah,
So I think more just communication with the pastor of, can you please make sure to look at the camera during this time, and this time?
yeah, that's not an issue. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that's not an issue at all.
But basically, it's difficult to figure out who is engaging with your YouTube platform videos. You could explore another platform. I think this is what I'm hearing, Tam, for showing your videos. And maybe you, I don't know, would you say something in the video? If you've enjoyed this video, please connect with us for, do people do that anymore?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
can
they
do
For
that.
do.
more information and
They do. As I'm listening to this, I'm thinking about going back to Zoom where we were 5 years ago,
Mhm.
because it does have the interactive thing, and you know who your viewers are.
Exactly. That might be the option. And you can record Zoom videos as well.
Yep, and put them on YouTube or Vimeo, whatever.
yep. And you can live stream them during the service to your YouTube channel. So, yeah, lots of options with Zoom, but then you're putting a link somewhere that anybody can click on, I'm guessing, to join. You're probably not going to ask for registration to join worship. But
Mhm.
if you do and you can get people to register, that's awesome. Then you know, have an opportunity to collect some data on them.
I'm on my YouTube account, my church's YouTube account right now, looking to see if we have any. I mean, it's showing views. I just am not having anybody comment on YouTube.
How many views do you have?
Depends on which video. Some of them have a couple hundred, some of them have 5. We're, like I said, we're posting every single day, so it just depends. You could get caught up in the analytics of these videos all day long, and the fact of the matter is, you just need to have something out there. And because if you have nothing, then you can't even play the game, you know. So if you're willing to play the game, don't get too caught up in how many views you're getting and how you're just doing it. And then the next step is, what's the next best thing? Engage. Okay, how do I do that? Look at the camera. The next best thing is, oh, I'm getting people commenting. Engage personally with them. Contact them directly. Are they new members? Hey, get into the back chat messages. Most of that's going to have to be done through a Facebook, because you don't have private messaging or direct messaging through YouTube. Somebody messaged that they don't have an online deacon, they have an online moderator, which is better. Then you don't have to go through all the rigmarole, but you can always offer to upgrade them to deacon if they would like. For AV, okay, so Scott, you asked, for those with AV sound, tech employees and volunteers who run the tech items during worship, is it too much to have them also run the online interactions? Is that what an online moderator or online deacon does? My AV tech would not have the capabilities of doing that. She's managing sound, choir, she does the slides as well, and she's doing video. So on top of that, to comment, she couldn't do that. She could barely hang on where she's at, but she's done an amazing job. So I think that needs to be somebody who's either sitting in the audience at church or sitting at home, who is a regular watcher or attender. Yeah, Tan, we did our best in answering that question. I feel like I failed on that one. Oh, Vimeo has live Q&A options and polls available during the stream, depending on how folks are watching. Yeah, I think it's hard to get people to interact online. It is. And we can't get discouraged because they're there, they're hiding, they're watching. We just have to be consistent. We have to be consistent every single week. Whatever we choose to do, just be consistent and be there. And, when that person finally walks in the doors and say, oh, I've been following you for 2 years, you're going to be shocked. You're like, oh, I thought it wasn't doing anything. I thought I wasn't. People are watching. People are there. And it's not just your mom. It does feel like my mom. It's just my mom sometimes. They're watching. Oh, you're experimenting with podcasting a sermon. We have been posting our sermons via podcast for 8 years. We get engagement. It's hard to say who's listening, who's watching. You definitely can't see who's watching those or who's listening to those, but we leave it it's always an option. You can listen to it, you can watch it. I've got it where YouTube will actually pull the audio and just put it directly into YouTube podcasts. I'm learning all the time on how to, because you could be an expert in this and it changes tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So focus on what you already know.
So when you say that you get engagement on a podcast, what does that mean? Are people commenting, or are they?
You get views. You're just showing views. How many people have listened? Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to think, okay, God is out there touching people and he's not writing down names and numbers. And can we do this as a service to our community without feedback? Can we trust that it's getting to the right people at the right time without being told, what a great job you're doing. You're reaching the right people. That's hard. That's hard to do something when you're not getting a lot of feedback. But I'm telling that it's necessary. It's necessary to be consistent and be available because we are in an epidemic of isolation and loneliness, and people don't want to leave their houses, or they're too busy. Families are too busy. I've got 3 kids and going 12 different directions. I need like 3 more spouses just to keep up. And so when families tell me they can't make it to church on Sunday, I'm like, yeah, I know. It's really difficult. How do we meet them where they're at? They're online. Everybody's right here, How do you show up online for them without the accolades of, that's what's hard.
Jim from Ashland posted, what do you post daily? Upcoming events, or did you say maybe it was like you post the theme
not
of
events. I post events occasionally. I post Mondays, I post a recap of the sermon, a summary, and I do all this via AI. I get the transcript and I give me a summary. It takes 2 minutes, not kidding. And I'll post a recap, and then I will post a link to the video. Here's the video from yesterday. Tuesdays is, what is Tuesdays? Tuesdays is sacred, I think. Oh no, prayer Tuesday, prayer and care. So we will do a prayer Zoom. We don't post that. I'll say on Facebook, today's prayer and care day, join us on our Zoom for personal prayers, and people can access that. On Wednesday, we do Sacred Connections. We're working with this app called Sacred Space, which I think it's like a Franciscan Catholic app, but it just prays. It has a prayer every single day, and every Wednesday, the pastor will do a live YouTube and walk through the prayer and kind of give a short talk about it. He's really good about going on YouTube. It's not about being an actor. It's not about presenting yourself perfectly. It's not about the lighting. It's not about any of that. It's about being authentically yourself. And you can just turn on, just make sure you don't have any weird stuff on your face and go for it. And that's like 5-10 minutes. Thursdays is pastoral leadership. People just talk about the goal of the church. What's our next steps? What are we doing next week? What are we doing next month? He does a short video. He used to do a letter that could just be an email. On Fridays, we do, here's what's coming up this weekend, a short summary. One of our pastors will record a 30-second video. Here's what we're going to do this Sunday, and here's what we're going to talk about, and this is the scripture we're going into, and I can't wait to see you. Saturday is a partnership, so mission partners that we talk to, and we'll just post a little bit about their information on Facebook. Here's the food bank we work with. Here's what they're looking for this week. Here's, our next drive is in May. We'll let you know when that comes up. And then Sundays are Sundays, but we post something, and a lot of it I will plan ahead because I don't have time for that. Like posting every single day. On Facebook, you can post up to 30 days in advance. So I'll spend a day and just, if I can't link to a video, then check out our YouTube page. Here's the link to the YouTube page. You can see the latest videos coming up. It doesn't have to be that intense. That's really intense. It could be a simple prayers are on Tuesday. Thank you for coming to church on Monday. Wednesdays, send me your prayer requests or joyful, like let's experience joy together. I've never gotten a prayer request on Facebook, by the way, especially not publicly. If anything, they would message us or message the pastor directly. We have a text line that only goes to the pastor, but it's not his phone number, so they're not like overusing it. We've got, just make it easy for people to contact us as easy as possible through email or text or, whatever app you're on. If you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, or you're on Instagram. I never get any likes on Instagram, by the way. I don't know what that's about. But I can post it through Facebook. It goes straight to Instagram. Have I lost everyone? Are you lost? Oh God.
Anything else? Any more questions, comments? Tell us something that you're doing that is
Posting a
unique and-
daily bake challenge. No, it's a daily media daily faith challenge is what it's called. So we post, those are the things that I went through, was the daily faith. And if you want to look at it, if you want to see an example, our YouTube page is at Grace Colorado, is simply at Grace Colorado, and it kind of shows all the videos we've been posting. Some short, they're not perfect, the lighting's terrible, our hair's not always great, the sound isn't always great. We're real human beings over here, so.
All right, well, we're coming up on that 1 hour mark, and so maybe we've exhausted this conversation, but if you're like me, you will always have like thoughts 5 minutes later after we've all left. Go ahead and reach out directly to Sheila. She's been on in copy on a lot of the emails I've sent out, or you can send anything to me. The video from this conversation will be posted to our YouTube channel by early next week. And there you can find all of our collaborative conversations. We've had some interesting ones lately on new ways of pulpit supply, children's ministries. We're looking for anybody who wants to be in kind of an email group and get ideas or share ideas on different children's ministries or teen ministries in your churches, if you have those people joining you on Sundays. So, okay, then without further ado, well, thanks Sheila so much. Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate all your time and prep that you put into this for us. Again, watch for a meeting wrap up from me early next week, and we'll see you on the next conversation. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.